Fairbanks on the map. Location, borders, and strategic importance. Fairbanks is not a city that immediately comes to mind when people think of the United States. It does not sit on a coastline, it is not surrounded by skyscrapers, and it is far removed from the political and economic centers that dominate global headlines. Yet, when viewed carefully on a map, Fairbanks reveals itself as one of the most geographically and strategically significant cities in North America. Its importance is not defined by size or population, but by location, isolation, and proximity, three forces that have shaped its history and continue to influence its future. To understand Fairbanks, one must first understand Alaska itself. Alaska is the largest state in the United States, covering more land than the next three largest states combined. On a world map, Alaska stretches like a massive bridge between North America and Asia. It is the northernmost, westernmost, and easternmost state in the U.S., due to the Aleutian Islands crossing the 180th meridian. Within this vast and often misunderstood land lies Fairbanks, positioned deep in the interior, far from the moderating influence of the ocean. Geographic position: the heart of interior Alaska. Fairbanks is located in interior Alaska, approximately 358 miles, 576 kilometers, north of Anchorage and about 200 miles south of the Arctic Circle. On a map of Alaska, it appears almost centrally placed, making it a natural hub for transportation, communication, and logistics. Unlike coastal cities such as Anchorage, Juneau, or Nome, Fairbanks experiences a continental climate, meaning it endures far more extreme temperature swings due to its distance from the sea. The city lies within the Tanana Valley, a broad lowland shaped over thousands of years by glaciers, rivers, and tectonic forces. The Chena River, a tributary of the Tanana River, flows directly through Fairbanks and has historically been the city's lifeline. Before modern roads existed, rivers were the highways of Alaska, used in summer by boats and in winter as frozen travel routes. From an aerial or satellite map, Fairbanks appears surrounded by endless forests, mountains, and rivers. The Alaska Range rises to the south, while the White Mountains stretch to the north. This surrounding wilderness reinforces Fairbanks' isolation. There are no nearby major cities, no dense urban networks, only vast distances and extreme terrain. Understanding Alaska's borders. Although Fairbanks itself does not lie directly on an international border, its significance cannot be separated from Alaska's unique geopolitical position. Alaska is one of the few places on Earth where global powers sit within close physical proximity. Alaska shares a land border with Canada to the east. This border runs through the Yukon Territory and British Columbia and is one of the longest international board NNRs in the world. Roads connecting Alaska to the rest of North America pass through Canada, making cross-border cooperation essential for trade, travel, and infrastructure. To the west lies Russia, separated from Alaska by the Bering Strait. At its narrowest point, the distance between the two nations is only about 85 kilometers, 53 miles. Two small landmasses, the Big Diomede Island, Russia, and the Little Diomede Island, United States, sit just a few kilometers apart. On clear days, it is possible to see Russia from American soil. This proximity is not symbolic, it is deeply strategic. During the Cold War, Alaska became a frontline region in the tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union. Fairbanks, located inland but close enough to support northern defense systems, became a critical support center for military operations, radar installations, and air bases. Fairbanks as a strategic crossroads. When plotted on a transportation map, Fairbanks emerges as a crucial node. Major highways converge here, including routes that lead south to Anchorage and north toward the Arctic Ocean and Prudhoe Bay. one of North America's largest oil-producing regions. The Dalton Highway, which begins near Fairbanks, is the primary land route to Alaska's North Slope oil fields. Fairbanks International Airport further enhances the city's importance. Due to its location, it has long served as a refueling and cargo hub for transpolar flights between North America, Europe, and Asia. In aviation terms, Fairbanks sits near the Great Circle routes that connect major global cities, making it far more important than its population size would suggest. During World War II, this strategic value became unmistakably clear. Fairbanks played a key role in the Lend-Lease program, where American aircraft were transferred to the Soviet Union to support the fight against Nazi Germany. Planes were flown from the continental U.S. through Alaska and onward to Siberia, placing Fairbanks at the center of one of the most ambitious logistical operations of the war. Isolation as strategic strength. What might seem like a disadvantage, extreme isolation, has often been Fairbanks' greatest strategic asset. Its remoteness makes it less vulnerable to coastal threats, while its inland position allows for stable, year-round operations unaffected by sea ice or storms. Military planners, scientists, and engineers have long recognized this advantage. Several major military installations operate near Fairbanks, including Eielson Air Force Base, which plays a critical role in Arctic defense and training. The region's climate and terrain provide realistic conditions for preparing troops for cold weather and extreme environment operations. Beyond military use, this isolation has also made Fairbanks a prime location for scientific research. Being far from urban light and electromagnetic pollution allows for clearer atmospheric and space observations. This is one reason why Fairbanks has become a global center for aurora research, geophysics, and climate science. Permafrost and the hidden geography beneath. A map of Fairbanks does not tell the whole story unless one considers what lies beneath the surface. Much of the land rests on permafrost, ground that remains frozen year-round. This invisible layer fundamentally shapes how the city is built. Roads, buildings, pipelines, and foundations must be engineered to prevent heat from melting the frozen soil, which could cause structures to collapse. This geological reality turns Fairbanks into a living experiment in Arctic engineering. Every construction project reflects a negotiation between human ambition and natural limits. In this way, geography is not passive. It actively dictates daily life. A city defined by position. Fairbanks exists where extremes meet, between east and west, between civilization and wilderness, between strategic necessity and human endurance. On a simple map, it may look like just another small northern city. But when examined closely, Fairbanks reveals itself as a place where geography becomes destiny. Its location has drawn explorers, prospectors, soldiers, scientists, and settlers. It has shaped economic opportunity, military planning, and scientific discovery. Most importantly, it has shaped the mindset of the people who live there. People who understand that survival, cooperation, and adaptability are not optional, but essential. In the chapters that follow, Fairbanks will transform from a point on a map into a living story of ancient peoples, brutal climates, shimmering skies, and a modern community standing firm at the edge of the inhabitable world. Chapter 2. Before the City, Indigenous Life, Exploration, and the Gold Rush. Long before Fairbanks appeared on American maps or entered the imagination of explorers and prospectors, the land it occupies was already alive with human presence, knowledge, and tradition. The story of Fairbanks does not begin with gold, steamships, or government claims. It begins thousands of years earlier with the indigenous Athabascan peoples, whose survival in interior Alaska stands as one of humanity's greatest adaptations to extreme environments. To understand Fairbanks fully, one must first step into this deeper past, into a world shaped by rivers, seasons, and ancestral memory. The first people of interior Alaska. Archaeological evidence suggests that humans have lived in interior Alaska for over 10,000 years. These early inhabitants were ancestors of today's Athabascan, Dean, peoples, part of a vast linguistic and cultural group spread across Alaska and northwestern Canada. Unlike later settlers, these communities did not attempt to dominate the land. Instead, they learned its rhythms, respected its dangers, and adapted their lives accordingly. Athabascan groups lived in small, mobile communities centered around river systems such as the Tanana, Yukon, and Chena rivers. These waterways were essential. In summer, they served as transportation routes for canoes and fishing. In winter, once frozen solid, they became natural highways across the snow-covered landscape. Life here demanded deep environmental knowledge. Athabascan hunters tracked caribou migrations, understood moose behavior, and followed seasonal fish runs. Food was never wasted. Every part of an animal was used for nourishment, tools, clothing, or shelter. Clothing made from animal hides provided insulation far superior to anything early European explorers brought with them. Shelter reflected intelligence and necessity. Semi-subterranean homes, insulated with moss, earth, and wood, trapped heat during brutal winters. During warmer months, families lived in lighter seasonal structures, allowing flexibility and movement. Survival was collective, not individual. Knowledge was passed orally from elders to children, ensuring continuity across generations. A spiritual relationship with the land. For the Athabascan people, the land was not a resource to be exploited. It was a living entity. Rivers, animals, and forests were treated with respect and gratitude. Spiritual beliefs were closely tied to nature, reinforcing a worldview in which balance ensured survival. This relationship allowed indigenous communities to thrive in interior Alaska for millennia without destroying the environment that sustained them. It stands in sharp contrast to what would follow with the arrival of outsiders. First encounters with the outside world. European and American contact with interior Alaska came relatively late compared to other parts of North America. The region's extreme climate, remoteness, and lack of obvious coastal access delayed exploration. Russian traders and explorers largely focused on Alaska's southern and coastal areas, driven by the fur trade. By the late 19th century, however, American interest in Alaska began to grow following the Alaska Purchase of 1867, when the United States bought the territory from Russia. At first, interior Alaska remained largely ignored, viewed as inaccessible and inhospitable. That perception changed dramatically at the turn of the 20th century. The accidental beginning of Fairbanks. In 1901, a man named Captain E.T. Barnett, a trader from Washington State, set out on a river journey into Alaska's interior. His steamboat was attempting to reach Tanacross, but due to low water levels, it could go no farther than the Chena River. Barnett unloaded his supplies and established a small trading post, believing it to be a temporary stop. That accident would change history. Not long after, gold was discovered in the surrounding hills. News traveled fast, even in a land where communication was slow and dangerous. Prospectors began to arrive by the hundreds, then by the thousands, enduring freezing temperatures, disease, and isolation for a chance at wealth. Barnett's trading post quickly became a supply hub for miners. Tents multiplied, businesses appeared, and a settlement began to take shape almost overnight. The gold rush that built a city. In 1902, gold discoveries near what would later be called Cleary Creek ignited the Fairbanks gold rush. Unlike earlier gold rushes that relied heavily on individual prospectors, Fairbanks benefited from larger-scale operations and better organization. This allowed it to grow beyond a temporary boomtown. The settlement was officially named Fairbanks, honoring Charles W. Fairbanks, then Vice President of the United States. The name symbolized legitimacy and permanence, signaling that this was not just another fleeting frontier camp.
I've never seen it.
Within a few years, Fairbanks had electricity, a hospital, schools, banks, and newspapers. Roads were carved through frozen ground. Businesses flourished. Unlike many gold towns that vanished once deposits were exhausted, Fairbanks adapted. When surface gold declined, industrial mining techniques took over, extending the city's lifespan. Impact on indigenous communities. The rapid expansion of Fairbanks came at a heavy cost for indigenous populations. Traditional lands were taken, hunting routes were disrupted, and diseases introduced by newcomers devastated local communities. Cultural systems that had survived for thousands of years were suddenly under threat. Many Athabascan people were pushed to the margins of the new economy or forced into unfamiliar ways of life, while some adapted by working as guides, laborers, or traders. The social and cultural damage was profound and long-lasting. This chapter of Fairbanks' history is complex, marked by progress and loss, opportunity and injustice. It reflects a broader pattern seen throughout colonial expansion in North America, from frontier to permanence. By the early 20th century, Fairbanks had established itself as the dominant settlement in interior Alaska. Its location, infrastructure, and adaptability ensured its survival beyond the gold rush era. What began as an accident on a riverbank had become a permanent city. Fairbanks was no longer just a place of extraction. It was becoming a center of administration, trade, and community life in the far north. A foundation laid in contradiction. Chapter 2 reveals the contradictions at the heart of Fairbanks' origin. It is a story of remarkable indigenous resilience and knowledge, followed by rapid transformation driven by outside ambition. It is a tale of survival, disruption, and reinvention. The land that sustained Athabascan peoples for millennia became the foundation for a modern city, one that would soon face new challenges, not from human ambition alone, but from the most powerful force of all, the Arctic climate itself. In the next chapter, the story of Fairbanks moves from history to environment, from human action to natural extremes, where darkness, cold, and light shape every aspect of life. Chapter 3: Land of Extremes, Darkness, Ice, and the Northern Lights. If Chapter 2 tells the story of how Fairbanks was born, Chapter 3 reveals what truly defines it. More than history, more than geography, climate is the force that rules Fairbanks. Here, nature does not compromise. It dictates how people live, how they think, and how they survive. Fairbanks exists in one of the most extreme inhabited environments on Earth, where darkness can last for weeks, cold can stop machines from working, and the sky itself becomes a living spectacle of light. To understand Fairbanks is to understand its weather, not as background, but as the main character. The power of interior climate. Unlike coastal Alaska, where ocean currents moderate temperatures, Fairbanks sits deep inland. This geographic reality creates a continental subarctic climate, one of the harshest climates experienced by any modern city. Seasonal contrasts are extreme, and temperature swings of more than 80 degrees Celsius between winter and summer are not uncommon. In winter, Fairbanks regularly records temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius -40 degrees Fahrenheit. On particularly severe days, temperatures have dropped to -50 degrees Celsius, levels where exposed skin can freeze in minutes, and mechanical systems fail without warning. The cold is not just uncomfortable, it is dangerous, unforgiving, and relentless. This extreme cold reshapes daily life. Cars must be plugged into electrical outlets to keep engines warm. Homes are sealed and insulated like fortresses. Fuel, food, and emergency supplies are planned months in advance. In Fairbanks, survival is not assumed, it is engineered. The long darkness of winter. As winter tightens its grip, another challenge emerges: darkness. Fairbanks does not experience full polar night like locations north of the Arctic Circle, but during December and early January, daylight is reduced to just a few hours of weak, indirect sunlight. The sun barely rises above the horizon, casting long shadows and a blue-gray glow across the landscape. For many weeks, daylight feels more symbolic than functional. This prolonged darkness can be psychologically taxing, contributing to seasonal depression and fatigue. Residents adapt in creative ways. Artificial lighting is used strategically. Social gatherings, festivals, and community events become essential tools for mental well-being. In Fairbanks, fighting darkness is not just a physical task, it is an emotional one. Silence and stillness at extreme cold. One of the most striking features of Fairbanks in deep winter is silence. At extreme cold, sound behaves differently. Snow absorbs noise, and frozen air carries little vibration. The result is an eerie stillness that can feel overwhelming to newcomers. Even nature seems to pause. Rivers freeze solid. Trees crack under the stress of temperature shifts. Metal snaps. The air itself feels heavy, sharp, and dry. Yet within this silence, life continues. People go to work, children attend school, and daily routines persist, proof of human adaptability in the face of nature's indifference. The sudden return of light. Just when winter feels endless, the balance begins to shift. By late January and February, daylight slowly returns. Each day brings a few more minutes of sunlight, and with it, renewed energy. This transition is celebrated. In Fairbanks, the return of light is not taken for granted. It is felt deeply, almost spiritually. The population marks this change with festivals and shared relief, knowing that survival through the darkest weeks is a collective achievement. The other extreme, the midnight sun. As winter retreats, Fairbanks enters the opposite extreme. From late May through July, the city experiences the midnight sun, when daylight stretches close to 24 hours a day. While the sun technically dips below the horizon, the sky never fully darkens. This phenomenon transforms life. Plants grow rapidly. Wildlife becomes active around the clock. People sleep less, work longer hours, and feel an almost unnatural surge of productivity. Time itself seems to lose structure. For newcomers, the constant light can be disorienting. For locals, it is an opportunity, a brief, intense season to prepare for the next long winter. Aurora Borealis, the sky comes alive. Perhaps no natural phenomenon defines Fairbanks more than the Aurora Borealis, also known as the Northern Lights. Fairbanks sits directly beneath the auroral oval, a region around Earth's magnetic poles where auroras are most frequently visible. On clear winter nights, the sky above Fairbanks can erupt into motion. Curtains of green light ripple across the darkness, shifting into shades of purple, red, and blue. The aurora dances silently, a reminder that Earth is connected to forces far beyond its surface. Scientifically, auroras occur when charged particles from the sun collide with gases in Earth's upper atmosphere. Spiritually, for many who witness them, the experience is indescribable. The aurora has inspired myths, research, tourism, and wonder in equal measure. Fairbanks has become a global destination for aurora viewing, drawing visitors from around the world who brave the cold for a chance to see the sky come alive. Climate as teacher. Living in Fairbanks teaches lessons that cannot be learned in comfortable environments. Residents learn patience from long winters, gratitude from returning light, and humility from nature's power. Climate shapes character here. People plan differently. They respect forecasts. They understand that small mistakes, like forgetting gloves or misjudging travel conditions, can have serious consequences. This awareness creates a culture of preparedness and mutual support. In Fairbanks, neighbors help neighbors, not out of politeness, but necessity. A landscape that demands respect. Chapter 3 reveals Fairbanks as a place where human life continues under conditions that seem almost impossible. Darkness tests the mind. Cold tests the body. Light, when it returns, feels like a reward earned through endurance. This land does not promise comfort, but it offers something deeper, a profound understanding of survival, resilience, and balance. Fairbanks is not merely endured, it is respected. As the climate shapes every breath and every decision, the city stands as proof that humanity can adapt even at the edge of the inhabitable world. In the final chapter, the focus shifts from nature to people, from survival to meaning, as modern Fairbanks emerges as a city shaped by science, community, and the unbreakable human spirit. Chapter 4. Life at the Edge, Modern Fairbanks, Economy, and Human Survival. Fairbanks today is not a frozen relic of the past, nor is it merely a survival outpost clinging to existence in the Arctic interior. It is a living, evolving city where modern technology, ancient wisdom, and human determination intersect. To understand Fairbanks in the present is to see how people have learned not just to endure extreme conditions, but to build meaning, community, and progress within them. This final chapter explores modern Fairbanks, its economy, institutions, daily life, and the quiet strength of the people who call it home. A modern city in an ancient landscape. Despite its isolation, Fairbanks functions as the primary urban center of interior Alaska. It is home to government offices, healthcare facilities, educational institutions, and cultural centers that serve a vast region stretching hundreds of miles in every direction. For many remote villages, Fairbanks is the nearest point of access to advanced medical care, higher education, and large-scale commerce. The city's layout reflects adaptation. Buildings are designed for cold resistance, elevated foundations protect against permafrost melt, and infrastructure is engineered for extreme seasonal change. Nothing here is accidental. Every structure is a response to the environment. Fairbanks may lack skyscrapers, but it possesses something rarer: functional resilience. The University of Alaska Fairbanks, knowledge at the front line. One of the most defining institutions in modern Fairbanks is the University of Alaska Fairbanks, UF. More than a regional university, UF is a global leader in Arctic research, climate science, space physics, and geophysics. Scientists at UF study climate change where it is happening fastest. Melting permafrost, shifting ecosystems, and atmospheric changes are not abstract theories here. They are measurable realities. Research conducted in Fairbanks contributes to global understanding of environmental change and helps shape international policy discussions. The university also plays a cultural role. It attracts students, researchers, and professionals from around the world, making Fairbanks more diverse and internationally connected than its remote location might suggest. Military presence and strategic importance. Fairbanks continues to hold major strategic value in the modern era. Nearby Eielson Air Force Base is a key component of U.S. Arctic defense strategy. The base supports advanced fighter aircraft and provides training in extreme cold weather operations. This military presence has a significant economic impact. It provides jobs, supports local businesses, and reinforces Fairbanks' role as a security hub in the Northern Hemisphere. Once again, geography shapes destiny. Fairbanks remains important not because of politics, but because of position. Economic foundations of Fairbanks. The economy of Fairbanks is diverse by necessity. Dependence on a single industry would be risky in such an extreme environment. Key pillars include government and public services, education and scientific research, military operations, tourism, especially Aurora tourism, energy and resource-related logistics. Tourism has grown steadily, driven largely by global interest in the Northern Lights. Visitors arrive from Europe, Asia, and beyond, willing to face sub-zero temperatures for a chance to witness the aurora. This seasonal influx supports hotels, guides, transportation services, and local artisans. At the same time, Fairbanks supports infrastructure linked to Alaska's oil and gas industry, serving as a logistical and administrative center for operations on the North Slope. Daily life in extreme conditions. Life in Fairbanks demands constant awareness. Residents prepare their vehicles for winter with engine block heaters. Emergency kits are standard. Weather forecasts are followed closely. Cold is not feared, but it is respected. Social life adapts as well. Community events, winter festivals, and shared traditions help combat isolation and seasonal darkness. People learn to find warmth not only in heated buildings, but in human connection. Children grow up understanding resilience as normal. They learn early how to dress for cold, how to navigate darkness, and how to help one another. In Fairbanks, independence and cooperation coexist. Cultural identity and indigenous presence. Modern Fairbanks also continues to grapple with its history. Indigenous Athabascan communities remain an essential part of the city's identity. Cultural preservation efforts, language revitalization programs, and traditional knowledge are increasingly recognized as vital contributions to Alaska's future. There is a growing awareness that survival knowledge passed down for thousands of years has value not just culturally, but practically, especially in an era of climate uncertainty. A city shaped by choice. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about Fairbanks is that most people who live there choose to stay. They are not trapped by circumstance. They remain because Fairbanks offers something rare, a life stripped of excess, grounded in reality, and connected to forces larger than human ambition. Living in Fairbanks teaches patience. It demands preparation. It rewards resilience. The land does not bend to human will, but it offers meaning to those willing to adapt. Conclusion: Fairbanks as a human statement. Fairbanks is more than a city. It is a statement about humanity's capacity to adapt, to learn, and to endure. From indigenous survival to gold rush ambition, from wartime strategy to scientific discovery, Fairbanks has evolved without losing its core truth. Life at the edge is possible, and it can be meaningful. At the intersection of darkness and light, cold and warmth, isolation and community, Fairbanks stands as a living testament to human resilience. It reminds the world that survival is not just about enduring hardship, but about building purpose within it.